Hey folks, it's Maxie here and welcome to a brand new TEW2020 video. Join us today for the first of a huge string of shows in quick succession in the game. We're going for Fyter Fest, we've got Battle of the Belts next week. The end of the month of July we have Fight for the Fallen. We then move on to August, we've got Thank You Kana-chan, obviously Kana's retiring. Then we move on to All Out. Then after you've got Grand Slam. So the shows are coming thick and fast. It does come at a cost though. Just booking a random Dynamite, and we have lost another top star to a severe concussion who'll be out for a year. We'll have an angle to cover that as well. But two major stars missing for a year, up to basically June 2027. Both with severe concussions is not ideal. So I don't think there's a room and there's a scope for many more 100 rated matches because it's two big stars that helped towards that. But we can certainly put some people over, try some new acts, phase out the older guys, bring in the newer gents, and might fluke one. Or just keep putting Takeshita in massive matches. So anyway, Fyter Fest has went well. I'm quite happy with it. As I say, a lot of storyline stuff here. So sit back, relax and enjoy as we have the 2026 edition of AEW Fyter Fest. So we're at the Lambeau Field. We've got in 71,782 fans in attendance live on the AEW network or AEW Plus. So you notice here we've got Adam Cole, Jay White and Nick Jackson in the ring, and they open the show. They confirmed that after last week's trios match that included Adam Cole, Jay White and Kenny Omega against Kevin Steen, El Generico and Walter, that Kenny Omega suffered a severe concussion. They wish him well, but they know for a fact we won't see Kenny back for a year. Gutted. So just to confirm, that's Kenny Omega and that's Darby Allin, both out for a year in this save. And it's not like it's a retirement injury, possibly like we had with Ray Phoenix, we can bring them back. These ones are like, cool, these happen, I'll play through it, that's fine. So the Super Elite is now down to 4. They've said they've got a massive trios match tonight, they're focused on that. Hangman's got his chance at the World Championship, he's focusing on that, and they're going to wish him all the best against Walter in the main event. So 83, just really a segment to cover the fact that, no Kenny to mid-2027. And the fact that he's 44 means he probably won't be the same. Again, those stats, especially the stamina, is going to take a massive decline. Opening contest was for the AEW 0X Championship and about had great wrestling and good heat. El Hijo del Vikingo defeated Dante Martin in 14:10 with a 6:30 senton. I felt like this was a good opener, steal the show, get a crowd on song and add a bit of prestige to our championship belt. Both guys delivering with a solid 83. We then have a brawl backstage and it's the continued feud, the massive animosity between Tyler Black, Ben Carter and of course Shota Umino and Jon Moxley. They just keep beating the lumps out of each other and this feud is just going to keep going on and on. And that was an 82 rated segment. We then had the AEW Evolve Tag Team Championships on the line. The Regal Brothers, because obviously I had changed picture pack, I've lost the pictures they had previously, so we've went with them. They were two new gens into the save. But basically, because Fergal Devitt wanted to put him over, I continued to push with Parker Boudreaux, and I felt like, do you know what, let's put him and Bronson Steiner together. So, effectively, I turned Parker heel. He's aligned himself with Bronson Steiner. It just gives me another tag team honour, kind of third brand or ECW like, if you will. And decent matchup here, and we've called them the Big Meaty Men, because they are that. And they've defeated the Regal Brothers in 12:04 when Bronson Steiner pinned Gabriel Regal, meaning that they're the new Evolve Tag Team Champions. Just giving ourselves a bit more depth in that division. There wasn't too much for the Regal Brothers to battle, and lots of matches can only help the skill set of Parker and Bronson. Wow, this certainly exceeded expectations. So obviously Kana's having all these great matches before she goes out. I want to keep evolving elevating the Queen of AEW Championship. So here we had a great wrestling match with good heat, and it saw Priscilla Kelly defeat Kana, Veni and Yuka Sakazaki in 18:23 when Priscilla Kelly submitted Kana with the Tilt a World Dragon Sleeper 14th defence of the Queen of AEW titles, just showing how often she's defending it to gain prestige. But truthfully, if she's putting in performances like this, she won't be on the third brand much longer, because she brought the lowest performance of 79, 284s and 87. Stellar stuff here. Then moved on to more action in our women's division. And this one's obviously the feud that's been going on between the returning Chris Statlander and Jamie Hayter for the Shine Championship, although Jamie has enlisted help of a big powerhouse friend in the face of fellow British compatriot Bea Priestley. And Chris Statlander managed to get hold of Alexa Cabrera to be her tag partner here, and good to see they had excellent chemistry. Didn't know that. So this one was good. Chris and Alexa pick up the win over Bea and Jamie Hayter in 11:45 when Statlander pinned Jamie with an area 4-5-1. Bea was a weak link here, obviously she's just back onto the main roster, having had a run on Impact. But a 76 is pretty good. Pretty much means over the next two shows, whether it's Battle of the Belts, whether it's going to be Fight for the Fallen, we'll probably see Statlander versus Hayter 2. Moving on, we then have Ricky Starks. He says, it's really a shame to see what happened to Kenny Omega, obviously the man he won the IWGP US Championship from. But he says he's here to defend the belt, he's here to elevate it, he's here to show just how damn good he is, and he's issuing an open challenge. And Eddie Kingston comes out, he says, you know, Matt, it's been a wee while, I've been in a bit of a rut. You know, I like what you're doing, but I feel it's my time to become the IWGP US champion. But we are planning to turn Eddie babyface pretty soon, but at the moment he'll portray the heel role as he takes on Absolute Ricky Starks in a 79 promo. The match itself, not good, but it was about great heat and decent wrestling. Starks defeats Eddie Kingston in 12:22 with the Buster Keaton. Second defence of the belt for Ricky Starks. Just sadly, both guys didn't click, and it led to a very mediocre 64 rated matchup. That's something I'd expect for the two at the start of a mod, not when we're on 2026, but these things happen. We then had the excellent trios match, so Stina Rico managed to enlist the help of Ricochet for the 6-man tag, and it was the Super Elite who picked up the win. It was about had superb wrestling and great heat, as Adam Cole, Jay White and Nick Jackson defeated Ricochet and Stina Rico when Jay White defeated Ricochet with the Blade Runner. 91, fantastic stuff here. You can see there 95 for Kevin Steen, 92 from Ricochet, 90 Nick Jackson. Steen's getting a little bit stale, but overall pretty good stuff. We did make them steal the show just to get and have a banger, but a lot more legs in this feud going forward. The Kenny factor is a bit iffy, but it just means we need to work hard with Cole, White, Nick, Jackson, and of course Hangman. We then had the triple threat match for the Trios Championship. Now, basically, the New Day have not been good. I've not utilised them great. Big E's stamina is down to like 39, so he's pretty much done. Kofi's contract's up, so he's just going to go. We'll probably find something for Woods. Positive news. Danielson's contract was up. I asked him to sign a new one. He's willing to do TV again, so he's going to be doing matches all the time again, just not house shows. So that's better than just events it was previously, so you can have more action in terms of storylines. The final team, Zack Sabre Jr., Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, are all under the tutelage of William Regal, who again has had some issues with Garcia and Danielson, but they've also had their eye on Takeshita, of course the TNT champion. So this led to this matchup. Of course, Bryan Danielson and Daniel Garcia were aligned with Daniel Bryan, but because they turned babyface, he alluded to not join babyface. Truthfully, he's just quietly being dropped, and he's going to go to Carnage and hone his craft there and be a single star. The match itself was good. Sabre Jr., Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne defeat E, Kofi and Woods, and they defeated Danielson, Garcia and Takeshita in 9:32 because E couldn't last long. New Day go first. There it was, of course, Danielson, Garcia and Takeshita, meaning Tyler Bate, Pete Dunne and Zack Sabre Jr., who truthfully, three of them, completely underutilised by myself, and it's time I make a change to that, and they should be main eventing at this point in the save, but alas, we move. They're three people we're going to put big faith in the future of the company, and an 82. Takeshita though, 92, great performance. He's going to be the reason I got a lot of 100 rated matches, I hope. So good. So, what there was meant to be, because it didn't show up there, was Danielson was actually cost by Ilya Dragunov. So thanks, game, for not putting it up in the finish. So basically, William Regal on Carnage spoke to Dragunov and just says, "We like what you do. We feel you're underutilised and we feel you'd be a great part of this faction. So is he possibly joining?" Danielson says it doesn't matter. He wants his hands on Dragunov. He wants to kick his effing head in. 68. However, from the commentary booth steps up one of the authority figures for AEW, which is of course, commentator Chris Jericho, now retired. One of our many authority figures. They've got Chris Jericho, we've got Mick Foley, I'm pretty sure Kurt Angle is on as well. Just they can put matches on whenever they want. Basically tell us next week, Battle of the Belts, we're going to see a fatal 4-way for the TNT Championship. It's going to be Konosuke Takeshita, Bryan Danielson, Ilya Dragunov, and Zack Sabre Jr. That's going to be so good. So good, I cannot wait for it. 65. We then had the AEW Tag Team Championships on the line. It is the second defence for the Briscoes. And here they had a challenge from both teams gaining momentum, as of course the Fatu Brothers and the Kings of the Black Throne. Although things haven't been particularly great between Malachi Black and Brody King as of late. But it was a good match-up as the Briscoes defeated the Fatu Brothers and the Kings of the Thrones in 12:36. When Jay Briscoe defeated Jay Fatu with a Jay Driller. A lot of Jays in there. Second defence of the belt, 82, pretty solid stuff there. You can see there's a big physical decline on John and Jay Fatu. They're going to move to Carnage and work with some of the younger talent. But yeah, good stuff there from the Briscoes, as I've just decided to spear my mic there. Nice backhand to it. But after the matchup, a bit more tension between Brody King and Malachi Black. Malachi pushes Brody King and Brody just snaps. He just turns around, they start brawling, and it's all the way to the back. The crowd go wild for Brody King, and it's an 82 rated segment. 4 segments he has been, and the turn was a complete success. I want to give him a solo run. I want to try. I want to give Malachi's had solo runs, which means Brody King's done nothing, which is shame on him. So both can go their separate ways. They can face each other first, then they'll go separate ways. And Buddy Matthews will probably move Brand as well. I want to properly do a proper redraft after All Out, just to freshen everything up. It's battled at Carnage. I'm already thinking, do we ditch the developmental factor of it and do we make a women's brand? Because the star power is there now and there's the depth that can carry a full show and be successful. But there's a lot of ideas I've got and I'm like, would you drop that so soon? But we'll see what happens. Moving along, we had the AEW Women's Tag Team Championships on the line. Of course, Anna Jay and Britt Baker hold them. And they were challenged by Simone Johnson, and Veronica, Riho and Misa Ruga, and Siri and Takuma Aroha. And it was a decent matchup here, and it is new tag team champions. It is, of course, Simone Johnson and Veronica. That mega push continues on. Veronica's undefeated with AEW, and they defeated Britt and Anna Jay, Riho and Misa Ruga, and Siri and Takuma Aroha. And 11:45 when Veronica pinned Siri with a locked Wraith Slice. A Raph Slice, that is. New champs. Veronica started them obviously the save when she came into it. Like, everything was like 19 in terms of technical. They're already in the mid-20s. Like, if we keep giving her match after match, there's no reason why she can't turn into a very good worker. It's going to take a lot of patience, but a chance to get her. They two had the worst performances in the match. They are the work in progress, but let's be honest, Anna Jay and Britt Baker are a bit above the Tag Team Championships. Of course, they don't take the pin here, and Anna has that World Championship match to look forward to in the future. So, good stuff there. And then a wee celebration. The Rock comes out, and there's a wee celebration with his daughter. And Veronica, again, just trying to make sure they get over as quickly as possible. 80 rated segment. We then had the AEW Women's World Championship on the line, and actually put much disappointing in their match on the Carnage brand, which was why I opted for this. So in the last couple of weeks, Toni Storm turned heel. She basically got frustrated with continuing losing to Brucella Kelly. She attacked Mayu Iwatani on Carnage. They had a banger, and then I went, screw it, let's put them on pay-per-view and give them the opportunity. Here it was superb wrestling and great heat as Mayu Iwatani defeats Toni Storm in 13:51 with a Dragon Suplex. And that gives Mayu her 12th defence of the belt. She's really trying to get the prestige of this over the TBS to fix that error that I had done. But 81, 96 performance for Iwatani, 77 for Toni. if I can get someone that is excellent chemistry with her, she can get 100. She's so good. I've also loaned in a lot of people from Stardom, so Gulia, AZM, just to give them more matches and just to maybe see if I can get them over in the States and maybe get them in as well. But after the matchup, Mayu celebrates her win and she's beaten the hell down by Anna Jay, and Mayu is suffering from her and Britt Baker attacking her. Really just getting some heat back on Anna Jay, getting ready for that big matchup that Anna's got planned. It's in my document. I can't remember if this is in for Battle of the Belts or if it's in for Fight for the Fallen, but those two will do battle. And right now, I do not know about my Women's Championship match is going to be at All Out. But the good thing is, we've got so many talented women, we've got so many over women, there's so many options. And the main event was exceptional. Walter defeats Hangman in 21:39 by submission with a rear naked choke. 8th defence of the belt. Walter's always going to carry any matchup with his psychology, so Hangman went in here with a great opportunity. 96 is really good to see. Just a wee bit shame we didn't get the 100, but we should still get a good rating despite never really having a good promo segment here. But all good there. And we end it with Keith Lee coming down and staring down Walter and saying, "You got Hangman, but remember, I've got an opportunity at this belt as well. And I'm going to see you next week at Battle of the Belts." So next week, main event, Walter versus Keith Lee. Oh, guess I didn't need a good promo then. There you go, you just need a lot of good matches and that'll save you from having any good promos. So obviously we get the boosts from all the celebrities and that because, money's not an option. So, but we're getting these 100 rated shows. We're maybe going to get that achievement over a lot quicker, but you can see great stuff there with the women. And the Fatal 4-Way for the Queen of AEW. The trios match up there was pretty good, the 91. And stellar stuff there. So 3 good matches, no real good promos, so that's good that there's not as much pressure to get a good promo. But overall, as I say, it takes a lot of things along. You can see how many belts we've got, considering a lot of them were for championships, or in the case of the women's tag matches, permutations for a championship matchup. But I say it's progressing well. Like the shows are going a lot more fluid now because there's so much more storyline stuff and it's consistent workers. I'm really trying to get Valkyrie over, her and Saraya. Saraya's over at 83, but despite Valkyrie's on it's only like a 20 match run of wins and she's still chilling momentum. I even gave her a big upset win over Bayley Rose in the non-title match against the TBS champion, and she still is chilly. That's weird, but we'll see what it is. So I'm going to pause the video there. We're going to jump into the main screen because you probably noticed, top left hand corner, Sunday week 4 of June means that we will have the Wrestler of the Year so far, and the various other awards will be posted up, and it'll give us an idea of who's done well in the first half of 2026. So let's jump to that. Well, there's something ironic. The Wrestler of the Year so far won't wrestle again this year. So I'm intrigued to know if that'll give Kenny Omega this in the bag then, because he's not going to wrestle again, so his average match is not going to go any lower. So we'll keep that in mind once we get to December, which will be a long, long time away. Generally could be September in real life. Would it? No, that can't be right. I'm trying to think. 6 months is probably 8. Nah, not with 2-3 months. Maybe might be around about Double or Nothing. We get actually in real life Double or Nothing that we get to that, so that's quite intriguing. So Kenny is your Wrestler of the Year so far. The Company of the Year is us. Let's go. Let's get those awards. Team of the Year so far is the Revival or FTR. So that's good to see. We're actually, for once, getting better than Japan. It's usually all the New Japan stuff that wins all these awards, so that's good to see. Match of the Year so far, we did get 100. It is going to be that match-up between Kenny Omega and Konosuke Takeshita. We're going to topple that, which also means that Double or Nothing is our best show, because that's one of our 100s, so we're actually dominating the awards so far. Young Wrestler of the Year is going to Azumi, or AZM. As I say, we have her on loan at this moment in time. She's only 23, so she's still got a big scope to develop, which is good to see. If we can get the psychology up, I think she's one where we'll keep loaning her, and then eventually we might look at getting that contract, that taken away. Because as much as it's Stardom True Born, and it's oh, I won't lose, I need to lose Stardom. I always say Cody Rhodes back to WWE, Nakamura to WWE, like, money's there, people will move. Veteran Wrestler of the Year went to Kota Ibushi, who's still with New Japan and is there for another 11 months. I don't actually know if I was going to say I've used them a lot. I've loaned them a lot, so never say never. Might see Ibushi back in. 44 though is a bit worrying. Female wrestler, it's got to be Mayu Iwatani. It's not going to be anybody else. She's got that sewn up already. And your Independent Wrestler of the Year is Jason Lee. Fyter Fest is the absolute success. Steve Lombardi's retiring. He's going to leave the business, I'm assuming, because he obviously won't be a competitive wrestler. Stardom have extended the contract with Samurai TV. A lot of TV stuff there as well in terms of Raw and SmackDown. We also tried to kind of... So, see, I'll explain it better here. CMLL are like in the shit, basically, financially. They are 4.4. They actually sold, I don't know if I'll show you here, sold 3 of their arenas. 4 of their arenas, so they sold the dojo and then 3 exclusive arenas just to keep themselves afloat, which is the first time I've seen that in this. I want to try and buy them, but they still won't talk to me, despite that amount of debt. So hopefully, in a few weeks' time, and I tried to obviously do the dirty trick, but it didn't work, we can buy them over and take their titles and take their events. That's the plan, basically. Yeah, so we'll finish up here, just a look at news items. That's one of our new gens that's fine, and go to Impact. Gonna bring in Viper. She is actually pregnant in game, so she won't be usable for about a year. But I feel like when she comes back, perfectly can put her in with Kaylee Ray, some sort of Scottish tag team. Hideo Suzuki is just good for putting people over, still good stats. Alex Shelley will be back on Impact, just to give me some star power there. Charlotte Flair, I thought she would have like hundreds of like negatives because people would be like, oh, she's divorced with Andrade, don't rehire her, but she was fine, so she'll just put people over because she's a 40 now in game, so she's kind of more here to help elevate Camille and Julia Hart. And Adrian Sever, I've already got Waller, I've already got Axel Barthel. Barthel's not done too much. Let's make that Matt Sacred and bring in Adrian Sever as well, so that's the plan. And last but not least, we have a lot of stuff to look over here. So Karam Alam has had a contract offer. New Japan have offered Dragon Lee. I'll look at that. His contract's up. Alan Rivera. Kenny Williams leaves WWE. WWE have offered their contracts to Adrian Sever. So a lot of stuff I'll do off stream or off video. Fyter Fest is now above average. Buy rate was 0 because it's on the network. So 28 million people will watch it through that. Pete Dunne says that B. Priestley's clumsy. Walter says that Riho's turning a good worker. Paul White says that Ilya Dragunov has money in his promos. We actually had a lack of big names. Now you have to remember, despite them showing up in angles, there was no, off the top of my head, there was no MJF, there was no Taylor Black wrestling, there was no John Moxley wrestling, there was no Cody Rhodes wrestling, there was no Logan Paul wrestling. A lot of big names missing that I say are active and good to go. But it's good. It allows me to rotate show to show. And some people might not go on some cards and some won't and get others. So it's perfect. I don't mind it that way. And as I say, financially we've got so much money that we actually like bug out with money. So that doesn't really matter. Misa Ruga is turning a good worker as well, says Sarah Stock, and Jushin Thunder Liger agrees with that. A lot of big opinions then from locker room leaders, so that's good to see. I'll keep that there so I can remember the situation with contracts, but I give you an idea. So we actually went like 903 million, profited made a performance of 55 and yet still lost money because of the way it glitches out, so that's fine. Money's not an issue. That's why we just throw all the celebs and boosts at everything and just have basically just turned into just have fun, sandbox it, see what we can do. So that's going to be it. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you did enjoy it. As I say, that is in the books. And going forward, Battle of the Belts, Fight for the Fallen, Thank You Kana-chan, All Out, Grand Slam, Dynamite Anniversary Show, and then Halloween Horror. So plenty of shows coming up, and there might even be one or more getting put in there just to give us an opportunity to get more people on the shows. So take it easy, check out the Fantasy Booker subreddit, the Grave Dog Software forums, Until next time, I'll see you soon. Bye bye.